This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
Today we have the common Bosch Dishwasher E-24 error. In this video we'll talk about some things you can do to get rid of that error and get your dishwasher working again. This sometimes can be a really easy one to cure, and other times it takes a little bit more detective work to figure out why you're getting the E-24. Normally the E-24 means that there's something blocking the drain from being able to get rid of the water. Computer thinks the water should leave at a certain amount of time, but it thinks it's the water's still in there. We're going to check this thing up by the kitchen sink called the air gap. We took the silver cap straight off and we pried off the white part. We're just looking in there to see if the little white tube has anything stuck in it. This one looks okay, so that's probably not what's causing the block, but that's probably the first thing to check. And some dishwashers are not hooked up to an air gap. We'll show you later in the video what to do. But that's the first thing to check. Next thing is to take off the filter, and then using a turkey baster or some paper towels, you want to soak up the water that's remaining in there. And there's always going to be a little bit of water in there. The Bosch dishwasher, they call it a wet sump. That's totally normal. So we're getting out as much water as we can, and we're going to pry back on this little impeller cover, this little white cover. Sometimes it's gray. We're going to pry it off, and we're going to get our turkey baster in there where the little white impeller thing is. We're going to get all the water out, and we're going to see if there might be something caught in there, like a little piece of broken glass or ceramic or a seed that's blocking the impeller from spinning, and that'll also give you E-24. If you see something in there, you could use a pair of tweezers or needle nose pliers to be able to get it out. But just look in there once you get all the water out and see if that impeller can turn really easily with your finger. If it feels like it's getting stuck, there's probably something underneath it, like, again, a little piece of glass. But it should be able to turn really easy with your finger. If that checks out, then probably your drain motor is okay. We will go over how to remove it, though, if you want to check it a little bit further. This little thing, the impeller cover, sometimes works itself loose, and then you'll definitely get an E-24. This little white tab my finger's pointing at has to push in toward you, toward the front of the dishwasher when you're seating this thing in. It's hard to get it in there. If it doesn't seat in, it won't create the right amount of suction during the drain, and you'll get an E-24. So I'm going to push down hard, and I'm going to push that tab toward me. I'm doing downward pressure and also pressure coming toward me. Now I'm using a standard head screwdriver to push down on that plastic tab to get it a little lower as I push in, and you should hear and feel it click. If it doesn't click in, you're going to definitely get an E-24 or E-25. This is a really common problem with the more modern Bosch dishwashers. So make sure you get that sucker in there. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes you have to really push down with that screwdriver to get it in. We're going to take a look at the pump too. If we're still getting the E-24, we're going to take off this cover, and this white thing that we can see right ahead, that's the pump. What we want to do is take the little modular connector out of the right hand side by pressing it on the tab and pulling it out. And we're going to grab the pump and we're going to turn it clockwise to the right to make it come off of its connectors. And we're going to take a look at that pump and see if maybe something has wrapped itself around the impeller, like some hair or a little piece of string that maybe went through the drain. Because if there's too much wrapped around it, it'll cause too much resistance, and then it will cause an E-24. The drain motors aren't that strong on the new Bosch dishwashers, and if anything's kind of in their way, they'll have an inability to get rid of the water. So I'm turning to my right, I pull that thing off, and a little bit of water will come out. That's normal. And I'm just checking to see if there's anything obvious. This one looks okay. There's just some hair wrapped around the impeller that we're going to get rid of later in the video. Another thing you could do is you could take a look at this tube that goes onto the pump, this white tube. You can pry off this little piece here at the top, just push it straight up. and then you can pull the tube off. A lot of water is going to come out though, probably about 3 cups full. You might want to have a towel, and you can just see if there's anything stuck in that tube. I just pulled it off a little bit, but if you want to really inspect it, just have a towel there, pull it off, and you can even blow through it, and you should be able to easily blow air through it from this end out toward the garbage disposal. So now I've got a little liquid soap on the rubber gasket on the pump, and I'm putting the pump back in at about the 230 position, and then I'm going to turn it to my left counterclockwise to lock it in. I got to push in pretty hard as I turn it so that it'll lock into the little plastic lugs. And if you grab it and pull it, once it's turned all the way, it should not come loose. So I'm going to put the little power connector back into position, make sure it's unplugged, making sure the exit hose is on there nice and tight, and then we'll give it a try. I'll put the filter back on. If you're still getting the E-24, it could be that there's some things blocking the circulation motor. If the circulation motor has too much difficulty spinning, it'll cause an E-24. And if you put in about 3 cups of white vinegar overnight, oftentimes that will melt and destroy any kind of stuff that's blocking the circulation impeller, and that sometimes can fix it. I wish there was more definitive answers for the E-24, but there's maybe 5 or 6 things that it can be. I did notice this impeller that came off of the old pump did have some hair around it, so if you have a little tool you can reach in, work that hair loose, get it all off, and sometimes that can allow the pump to spin fast enough and get rid of that E-24. Sometimes these are what are called intermittent problems, where the pump will work, the dishwasher will work fine, and then other times it won't drain and you'll get the E-24. If you ever get the E-24 and you open the dishwasher up and there's no water in there, it means it's not the drain that's the problem, because it did drain out the water. It probably means that the circulation pump is having a little trouble because there's something blocking it. And that vinegar idea may work. It may dissolve whatever's there if you leave it there overnight. So here's the drain tube that's hooking up to the garbage disposal. So rather than going to an air gap, in this case it's going directly to the garbage disposal. You want to make sure this tube is bent in a high arc so that water can't flow back from your sink into the dishwasher. And if you have a really long drain tube, that can also cause an E-24. So these modern ones are not set up well for those extended type of drain tubes. So if your dishwasher is right next to your sink, you're okay. But if your dishwasher drain tube has to go like twice the distance, that in itself can cause the E-24. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching our video. We really appreciate your support. And when you get a chance, please press the subscribe button below so you can be subscribed, and also the notification bell so we can send you more videos about appliance repair. Please also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. If you really liked the video and it really helped you, please press this new applaud button and you can show your support and also get a nice clapping hands for your video. Thanks again.